An interesting error on a Thomas and Friends thumbnail has made me ask the question, can we even tell what is real with AI anymore? Let's get into it. This is an episode that I'm just recording from my dining room. You might actually hear like floors creaking up the stairs because my kids are currently on their Xbox in their rooms directly above the dining room. But it's one that I wanted to kind of rush out because there's thoughts in my head. I need to get them out. If I don't get them out, then I'm just going to forget all the points that I'm making. So let's get started. This is all stemmed from a Thomas and Friends video. Yeah, I know, surprise, surprise, coming from me. But hear me out. Now, as I am prone to do, I like to kind of keep up to date with relative finger on the pulse of what's going on in Thomas and Friends community. So I subscribe to Thomas and Friends' official YouTube channel just in case there's any updates, if there's any unexpected releases, like for example when the Down the Mine pilot came out, all that kind of stuff. And I was looking through and I saw what's essentially like a compilation video where they'll take certain Thomas and Friends episodes, they'll have a theme and put all these together into like a 90-minute long video. And the thumbnail was an image from Edward and Gordon, or Edward Helps Out, to the US narration, from season 1. And it's the image that is quite well known for Edward having James's sad resin face. But there was something that I picked up on it when I was looking at that thumbnail. I took a screenshot of it and I zoomed in and I noticed something. Edward's tender did not have a number 2 on it. It had a number 6 on it, which, as you all know, I know is Percy's number. Now I obviously screenshotted this, did a little post in my community tab and said, I suspect there was an error. And I did more stuff to it, but I suspect there was an error. And that instantly opened up the floodgates for everybody thinking this is an AI slop job. And as I was looking through like the certain Thomas forums the next morning, a lot of people were having the same kind of discussion. And it got me intrigued. So I decided to put a community post on my Ginger Ninja channel with a poll asking my audience specifically, do you think this is AI or do you think it's a Photoshop error? Between both sets of comments, they've been quite interesting because there are some on the, yep, this is definitely AI, this is very, very concerning. And the other side is saying, so what, humans aren't allowed to make mistakes anymore? We just have to assume that this is an AI job? Now, I want to clarify something right now, so please hear me out. In my post, I did not say that there was AI. I responded to one of the commenters saying I had a suspicion it could be AI, but it's not safe for me to just outright say it's an AI slop job. I did a video on whether I thought Thomas and Friends was using AI for the 2026 series that is coming out and the merchandise line, and I got eviscerated for that to the point I had to take the comments down, which really hampered the view count, but I had to do it till the furore died down and then reopen the comments again once it was a bit safer to go back out, because even me having the slightest hint of accusation of Mattel using AI for Thomas and Friends content was a red rag to a bull. Now, the Thomas and Friends fandom is extremely passionate about the franchise. I am passionate about that franchise too. It's something we've grown up with, it's something that we associate with quality, with escapism, realism. So there's lots of things around the Thomas and Friends genre that make us a very passionate fandom. And it's not just Thomas and Friends, it's the same with every other TV or movie franchise that people have a passion for. My point was around the following. That I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I'll make mistakes in this video. I make mistakes in my thumbnails. I make mistakes all the time. The point is, I am a one-man band. I do all of this myself in terms of like creating my own videos, thumbnails and stuff like that. Obviously, if I have collaborators, they do their own bits and I just essentially copy and paste in because they've done the work on their side. I would not do anything to tarnish the quality of their work. So the point I was trying to make is that I'm a one-man job and I will make mistakes. But Thomas and Friends is a franchise, TV-wise, has an over 40-year IP. From the Railway series, its original starting point, has an 81-year IP at the time of this recording. And it also has a multi-billion-dollar company, Mattel, at its back. So the whole meme of the you had one job really does apply here. There've got to be so many things in terms of like production, thumbnail design, graphic design, quality control, before it even gets to the point of this being uploaded to YouTube, that it really should have been checked. It's a simple do your research job. Edward is number 2, Percy's number 6. So there should have been a lot of levers and a lot of systems in place to make sure that this error didn't get out in the first place. So this was the point I was trying to come across with. A multi-billion-dollar conglomerate like Mattel that has tons of intellectual property shouldn't make such a very basic error about their IPs. That's the thing that I was pointing out. But it opened up a can of worms to a wider debate of, was this AI that was doing this and they're just taking a cheap and nasty shortcut and essentially adding more evidence and fuel to the fire that Mattel are using AI in terms of their content. Or the other side, mistakes can happen. Somebody probably just did a wee Photoshop job because there was things like resin face not having as rosy cheeks, the weathering and colour of Edward's model not being as sharp. Even I know that's just basic colour correction. I don't mean it as basic. I am not a colour correction expert. I'm just learning more about that as I'm trying to do more editing and more work and sharpen my own skills for my content creation journey, which I will always do. But the question that I am really wanting to ask, is it now getting to the stage where we are now not being able to tell what is AI and what is Photoshop anymore? Do we now not know that humans can make mistakes and we are not perfect anymore? This is the big question that's been annoying me for quite a while, because any error that is done in a production process now, they equate it to you're using AI. That's why you made the mistake. You're now an AI slop creator. No, we do not want to associate with you anymore. So it can have reputational damage on your products going forward. This could be the same with my own content. I have been upfront with saying that I use AI as a tool in a toolbox. I don't use it in terms of the content creation, thumbnail design or anything like that. I use it to help with the statistical analytics, metadata, and all the parts of running a business that I struggle with, like the paperwork sides of it. Most of it I can do on my own, I try and do on my own, but if I get stuck, I treat it kind of like I'm going to the teacher at school. It's a little analogy I kind of came up with when I was trying to talk to my kids about, if you're stuck and you don't know the answer to a question when you're in school, you go and ask the teacher for help. Essentially, that's kind of what I'm doing with AI. I'll work through a process, I'll work through, like, say, company accounts, or trying to work out my corporation tax, or trying to work out a confirmation statement, or even ID verification. And they'll get to a point where I'm a little bit stuck, but because the company means so much to me, I want to make sure I get it right. So I go to my Gemini, try and figure out what I've done wrong in my steps in my process. It finds the mistake, it guides me to do it right. I correct the mistake, I double check the working out with AI to be safe, and then it's done and it's sent off, and that's been working as a tool in the toolbox. And also the raising the hand to the teacher if you get stuck. I'm constantly swithering around AI now. I went from I don't want anything to do with AI to AI is one of the best tools to ever be invented to okay, now I've got a kind of harmonious way of working through trial and error. And that's the whole thing that's being missed now. Everything has to be 100% on your first showing or your first presentation, otherwise people are going to assume you're using AI and it can cause reputational damage. And that's essentially what this thumbnail, as small as it's been, putting a number 6 instead of a number 2, has done to the Thomas and Friends brand. Now there'll be a furore about it and it'll quickly start to die down. That's kind of what happens. It's a big boom of oh my god, this is going nuts, to the bust of right, it's done that. But it just made me ask a bigger question. Are we now using AI as the fallback for human error? Can we even tell what the difference is now between a human error using Photoshop, or we just assume now that there's an error, these are the reasons why it's the AI. AI is now taking over the world. We have a huge corporate fight on our hands. And in all honesty, I'm a bit scunnered with it in the sense of trying to figure out which is which. I still need to cover it because it's now becoming something that I'm really incorporating into my own channel of how we can have some senses of ethical AI use against the parts of AI use that I really don't like. don't see AI as the be all end all, the Hail Mary, it's going to solve all of our problems. It's definitely not. But it's also going to cause infighting amongst us as humans, because we're going to assume that everything now is AI slop. And it's because AI technology has just advanced and rocketed up to a scary degree. And it's also the fact that people are having this kind of shield around them that if they're accused of using AI, and most likely they have, they're going to say, no, I don't use AI because X, Y, and Z. But come on, you use AI because the people can tell. But now, can we really tell? So it's something that I really want you to take away from this video. AI use is going to be part of the everyday life now, but it's the humans abusing it's going to be the problem. Do I want to see AI used in big corporations? No, I don't, because they have the money to work without it, and that should be like the gold standard of human creation that we try to achieve. Do I think it should help people that are on kind of lower rungs to get things out that they want to get out, well, passion projects or whatever? Yeah, should. More creativity out into the world, as long as it's very much human focused and having AI to tweak little bits here and there and not becoming the sole focus is a good thing for me, in my opinion. But it does concern me when big companies seem to look like they're using AI and then it creates the mass amounts of infighting amongst ourselves. That's the thing that I don't like. And it could just be a very simple Photoshop mistake. Someone not knowing that Edward is a number 2 engine and not a number 6 engine. Because they don't know the franchise that well. They've just been told to do a job and get something out on a deadline. In any type of work, that leads to human error. So I'm personally hoping that it was a Photoshop error. But I think we need to take a bit more care and be a bit kinder to each other if something like this happens. It's good for views, but bad for your mental health. Thanks for watching, and take care.